The department's review concluded that a series of major failures in leadership, in tactics, in communications, in training, and in preparedness were made by law enforcement leaders and others responding to the mass shooting at Robb Elementary.
First at 5, Attorney General Merrick Garland detailing painful lessons. It comes from the Department of Justice's review of the response to the shooting at Robb Elementary. And it's going to be with you on KENS 5 News at 5. I'm Henry Ramos. Tonight, there is a lot to break down from this report. Let's begin here. Since May 24th, 2022, investigators made 9 visits to Uvalde, conducting more than 260 interviews with more than 30 organizations. This includes officers who responded, survivors, family members, and hospital officials. And they gathered more than 14,000 pieces of data from photographs, body camera footage, and training logs. As a result, the report offers 273 recommendations to law enforcement officials across the country in hopes that they can prevent another tragedy. Tonight, questions still remain about whether criminal charges could be next. Alicia Nieves met with families at a news conference immediately following the DOJ's. Alicia joins us live in Uvalde. And Alicia, what did these families have to say?
Well, families said while this was the most thorough, comprehensive report they have seen thus far, they're still fighting for that accountability. So, yes, the DOJ confirmed law enforcement's response that day at Robb Elementary School was a failure. But these loved ones are still wondering if anyone will ever be held responsible for these deaths that the Attorney General said today could have been prevented.
If you cannot serve and protect the people, these were children. All they wanted to do was play.
Thursday's critical incident review by the U.S. Department of Justice provided families a little more clarity.
What we thought is true.
Veronica Mata, who lost her daughter Tess at Robb Elementary, said what she already knew about law enforcement's response May 24th is now set in stone.
Because the DOJ stamp is on there, maybe y'all will start taking us seriously now.
Brett Cross, who lost his son Usaya Garcia, believes if the feedback in the report is taken seriously, it could save lives.
Officers all over the country, they don't want to be known as the Uvalde, so I'm hoping that this information will help tighten them up, because in America, it's not a matter of if there's going to be another one, it's a matter of when.
Loved ones also expressed frustration with the report, wondering why the identities of certain law enforcement officials were kept private.
I don't understand why they are allowed privacy. My child, their children, they are named in this report because they are dead.
Kim Rubio, who lost her daughter Lexi, was also confused when she read the crime scene had been compromised.
There was people that shouldn't have been there that were entering the classroom. That's mentioned in the report.
In a surprising admission by Attorney General Merrick Garland today, he said if officers followed emergency response protocols like they were supposed to on May 24th, lives could have been saved. Loved ones hope that will be enough to get the DA's attention.
What else does she possibly need to prosecute or to remove these people from their positions of power?
Also announced today, 16 families who lost children at Robb Elementary School, plus another family whose child survived, secured legal counsel. A private attorney says he is evaluating potential legal action on behalf of these families as just another means of holding people accountable. We'll have more on that coming up on KENS 5 at 6. Live in Uvalde, Alicia Nieves, KENS 5.
Alicia, thank you. Now let's take a look at the immediate aftermath of the shooting. Associate U.S. Attorney General Vanita Gupta describing the chaos and confusion surrounding how the victims were and were not treated. She says the victims were moved away from the scene without appropriate precautions.
Victims who had already passed away were taken to the hospital in ambulances, while children with bullet wounds were put on school buses without any medical attention. In the commotion, one adult victim was placed on a walkway, on the ground, outside to be attended to. She died there.
Gupta says the chaos continued for hours after the shooting during the reunification process. She said some parents were getting misinformation about their children as they went to several locations to reunite with them. Others stayed outside the elementary school for hours, waiting for any kind of updates, not knowing where their kids were or if they were alive.
At one point, hours after the shooting, an official incorrectly told families waiting for their children at the Civic Center that an additional bus of survivors was coming. It did not.
Gupta says this report offers many lessons for law enforcement in every community. Among them, law enforcement leaders must provide direction to all first responders, and law enforcement and government officials must give community members as much accurate information as possible to avoid or mitigate rumors. Now, as the Uvalde community continues its journey to recovery, Gupta says the Justice Department is committed to standing by their side. Tonight, we're hearing from the city of Uvalde via a statement. They say in part, quote, the city has already implemented changes in leadership, new personnel, new training, and new equipment for law enforcement. The city has also hired an independent investigator to conduct a review of the city's law enforcement response. They expect that investigation to be finished this month. Meanwhile, State Senator Roland Gutierrez reacting to the findings as well. Today, he thanked the Justice Department for their efforts on the report, but he says the work does not end here.
We've got to learn from what happened in Uvalde, Texas. It's my hope that at least this report tells the entire world that we need to have some real change.
Now, other Texas lawmakers are also sharing their thoughts. Congressman Joaquin Castro saying to us in part, quote, my heart is with the families in Uvalde as they relive the worst days of their lives nearly 2 years after the massacre. The anguish and pain at Robb Elementary School is impossible to forget, end quote. And Congressman Greg Casar says, quote, nothing will bring back the Uvalde children, teachers, and family members whose lives were stolen on May 24th, 2022. Families deserve the truth, accountability, and justice, and my heart is with them today, end quote. And Governor Greg Abbott is also thanking the Justice Department for the review. In a statement, he said that Texas took swift action to secure schools after the shooting. He says, quote, we will continue to evaluate all possible means of making our schools safer, and we will carefully review all other recommendations the department has offered to prevent future tragedies across our state, end quote. Now, we have team coverage of the Uvalde report coming up tonight on KENS 5 News at 6. Alisa Nieves is getting more reaction from families as Zach Briggs digs deeper into the findings. By the way, right now, you can find that full report, again, hundreds of pages. It's a lot to go through. You can find that report online or the KENS 5 app.